Let me just tell you something about this guy. This man is a triple threat. He can direct, he can write, and believe it or not, he can also edit. That's something that's hard to find these days. He has pushed out films that will completely blow your mind. And I guarantee you in Hollywood, Nolan and Tarantino are shaking in their boots. 'Cause when he comes up, oh, they ain't going to have their jobs no time, no longer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to the one and only Jackson Hendrix.
Hello. I'm doing good. I'm doing better now. Wow.
You like that?
I do quite like that. Thank you.
Oh, man, you no worries about that. As you know, this is Getting Real with Ron Smith. And I've talked to Jackson before on Stardust, on the Stardust app. That's where I got to know him a bit. Mm-hmm. And he took the honor to be my next guest. So, Jackson, as I said before, you are an up-and-coming director.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we hear that over and over again from other people, but from you, I want to know why. What inspired you to go in this route?
What inspired me was other movies and the way they make me feel and the way they make me inspired. Movies are what keep me going a lot, and what I want to do is I want to give that same feeling to anyone, really, that watches something I make, whether it inspires them to be better or inspires them to do something good or inspires them to make movies themselves. I want to inspire people the way other people's movies have inspired me, and that's why I want to do this.
Now, has this always been there for you, like since you were like younger, or did it just come later on?
I've been dead set on telling stories since I was younger. I remember back in like 3rd grade, I think it was, my teacher would have these like writing hours and I would be the only one to enjoy it, and I'd write these silly little stories. And ever since then, I've been wanting to write and tell stories. Movies came around probably about 4 years ago, I want to say. I had a friend who was really into movies, and he got me into them. And then from there, it was around the time I saw Shawshank Redemption about 4 years ago for the first time. That was when I was like, all right, I'm making movies.
Whoa, Shawshank Redemption. That's a film right there.
Absolutely. Oh, so good.
So, like, you said that the spark kind of was there in 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. So, did your family also see this? Like, did they see that your passion was something this direction for being a director?
Yeah, they did. My parents all the time talked to me about, those things that I wrote and I made back when I was younger and how they were really impressed with what I had done. And they're completely supportive of me. They're constantly trying to help me find ways to get to where I want to be, helping me out with, any money that I need for a short film or something like that. They're really supportive of me, and they've always kind of seen that in me.
And see, right there, support is so important. You know what I mean? Like, so many times
Absolutely.
People have passions and dreams, but it's easy when you got, the haters out there to bring you down. You can just brush that off. Mm-hmm. But it hurts more when the people close to you, your parents, your friends, don't encourage you or just completely shut you down, say this can't happen. You won't achieve this goal at all. So hearing that your parents are 100% on your side, that says a lot, and it's always a good thing.
Absolutely.
And now you also said about the budget, because you know about films ain't cheap.
They are very expensive. Oh God.
Because like I've watched some of your short films on your YouTube channel, and some of them I'm like, man, where does he get the money for some of this stuff? Like, is it just that easy?
Absolutely not. When it comes to like, I've always written around what I have. Usually, like when there was this one short film I did. It was this quick little horror thing called You. I'm not sure if you've watched that one.
I did.
Yeah. I was going to this career academy place at the time, and they wanted us to make some horror short films, and I just completely wrote it around the layout I knew. That was the classroom that I shot in. And I knew I wouldn't have any like spectacular actors, so I wrote zero dialogue in there. So it's like I wrote it for one person too. So it's like that's usually what I do. I write around stuff. When it comes to like costuming and wardrobe, I go to Goodwill and I hope for the best.
See, look at that. You can find a way through anything. I like that.
You absolutely can. So my short films so far have been really cheap, and that's because I like to think I've been smart about the way I've been writing everything, like writing for what I know I have and what I know I can do.
And now on your movies, like again, I've watched them. Like I think I got the names right here. Nothing But Death.
That was my very first one that I made. That was for a school project back in what year was that? That was like 2016, 2017?
Around there, yeah.
Yeah.
And A Deal's a Deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Going Slightly Mad.
Yeah, that was
I had a kick out of that one actually. I really did.
Yeah, that one has an interesting story behind it. You know how it says director's cut next down the video title?
Yes.
I had gone to this like student film camp thing back in 2017, and that's where that one comes from. And ours, there were multiple groups making films, and ours was the one that was the most like complex to make. So we were rushing to get it done to actually like be able, because they had like at the very end of the camp like a screening for everyone, like the families and friends and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So we had to rush to get that done. We were still editing as other people were showing their films. So the initial cut is terrible.
Oh no.
It's
no.
Really, really bad. And that's no disrespect, because I didn't edit that one, and that's no disrespect to who did edit the original cut. He did a great job for the time limit he had, and the fact that we were still shooting as they were still editing. It was a total mess. So I don't blame him at all for that. He was just dealt a bad hand. But so I went in, I re-edited that for like a good solid 2 weeks, just completely from the ground up.
That must have been so stressful, man. Like
it was, but I love that kind of stress. That's my favorite kind of stress. I enjoy that.
And see, look, with that, like the pressure, because it felt like, all of it was all done, but you said that you got to re-edit it and put it all back out. So are you telling me that there was no nerves? No, like, oh my gosh, like, nah, this is not going to be what I wanted to be. You know what? I don't want to look at it. Let's just get rid of it.
That's how I am for all my short films initially. It's like, is this working? Is this good? Is this... And, I'm proud of all the short films I've made except for one, but that one's not even uploaded anymore because I wasn't proud of it. That I feel really nervous about, is this going to work? Should I even put this up? Should I look at it anymore ever? Should I just forget about it? But in the end, you just got to kind of push past that and put it out. And eventually, I think if you put in the effort, you put in the work, you'll feel proud of what you've made. And that's how I felt for pretty much every single one of my short films, save for, the one that's on private and it's not accessible because it's terrible.
and that is the big thing, as long as you are happy with your result, that's all that matters,
Exactly.
And it's true that I've always said that, we are our own greatest critics,
Absolutely. 100%.
Like, your best friend Joe could tell you, oh, Jackson, man, that was fantastic. But you look at him like, what are you talking about, man? That was trash. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I've had that happen before. Pretty much exact same conversation.
So, okay, then the next one, I saw that with, I think it was Deliver Unto Me.
Yep.
It said, one of the cast, I want to make sure this is right. It says Shelly Hendrix.
That is my mom.
That was your mother.
Yes, that is my mom. She has television experience, and she did that was, there was that brief little shot of when the main character Ben was watching a TV, the news report.
Yes.
That was her. She was the one on the news report. She has TV experience, so she offered to do that.
Oh, that is so dope. I saw that, and I was thinking like, oh man, I wonder if this person's related or just, oh, this can't fully be that. It can't be.
Yeah, no, that's my mother.
Oh, that is so awesome.
In the first short film I did, Nothing But Death, the person who was in that was my dad.
That's your dad?
That's my dad.
What? Man, see, when you said that your family's down with you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, see, okay, your families have been in these movies then, so you're the director. look, the parents and child thing is cut off when it's time to make these movies. So have you had to be tough on them and be like, hey, do that again? No, not like that. Do this. Have you used that privilege?
A little bit. I don't think I'm ever that harsh of a director. I'm pretty laid back with what I do. The only time I've ever had to get hard on someone was during Deliver Unto Me. And that first short film I did, it was my first time ever making a short film, so I was still kind of, testing the waters of how I was as a director and that kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't like that as much. And the thing with my mom was that was just a quick little thing. I think we only did one take of that. So that one wasn't as big a deal, but I haven't done that with my parents, but my best friend played Satan in Deliver Unto Me.
Oh.
And I had to get hard on him a lot.
Ooh. How did that go out, because that's your friend? And
yeah.
So how did that even go out between you two?
Well, afterward, it was a little rough, but, we're fine now. There was just, I don't know if there was some miscommunication stuff with what we were doing on that, but by the end of it, he was getting a little pissy about the whole thing.
And and that's the thing, when you're a director, and especially when you have people close to you being on the cast, mm-hmm. Sometimes feelings will get hurt, and sometimes to get the product that you want done right, you might have to be the bad guy and to say, look, that's not it. You got to do this.
Yeah, like for instance, I always like to take, advice and critiquing and stuff like that from my cast and crew and that kind of deal. If they have any ideas, I'm willing to hear them. But like with my best friend at that time, there was a line towards the end of the monologue that he has, and he was like, I don't like this line. It's like, I asked you if there was anything you didn't like or didn't want to say. Why are you bringing this up now while we're shooting? It's like, we're not changing this. It's just how it is. Like, we could have changed it before, but now it's just staying.
Yeah, see right there, communication is key. Mm-hmm. And especially with stuff that you got to get done.
Exactly.
So then, your last two ones, the ones you brought up before, you. Mm-hmm. And I want to know if I looked at this wrong, because I think it's the shortest one. I want to think so far on your YouTube channel. Yeah. We have to go now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was for a 1-minute action scene contest.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I was crazy. I was like, wait, is this it? I thought it was going to be longer.
That was just a quick little scene. That wasn't even technically a short film. I don't think. That's just a quick little scene that I did.
Okay. Yeah. Now, of all the shorts that I watched, I want to ask you these two questions for them. All right. Mm-hmm. For all the ones you made, which one are you most proud of, and what's the one that you wish you could go back and do something different again?
That's a good question. The one I'm most proud of is Deliver Unto Me. That's the one that I had the most time to work on. That's one of the ones that I made purely just to make something. Because a lot of the other times I've had some, like, there was a school project or there was a contest or something like that. That was one that I just made to make.
Okay.
And I'm really proud of that one. I'm really proud of the script because I drafted that script 4 or 5 times. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm really proud of that one.
Did you ever? They said you drafted that 4 or 5 times. Did you ever, at any moment, did you feel like I don't want to do this anymore? I don't want to make this one. I'm gonna scrap it because it's getting too frustrating.
I'm not sure if I've ever had that with that one, but I've had that a few times with a couple others that haven't even been made yet. That I've written. I've had that a few times, yeah, but I don't think I had that with Deliver Unto Me. I did when I was editing it, but not while writing. I hate editing.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir. I think you, me, and every other person on this earth cannot stand it. It's a grind with it.
I can't wait until I'm at the point where I can pay someone to do it for me.
Just do what you do best, direct and write, and then like, all right, yo, take it.
Exactly.
Edit. I don't even look at it.
Exactly. That's like, I need to hire an editor and I need to hire a cinematographer. That's what I need to do.
So now, let's go to the other one. Which short film that you have do you wish you can go back to?
I wish I could go back to, I've thought about this a lot. I wish I could go back to A Deal's a Deal. Mm-hmm. because I really like the script for that one. I think it has an interesting twist at the end. I like the actors that I had there, Jackson Beard and Pat Moore, I believe his name was. Um, but the problem is that was the second or third short film I ever made, and I rushed to get it done because I thought, oh, it's only 2 minutes. It won't take that much. It took 2 hours to shoot, and I wish I spent more time on it, getting more takes, getting different shots, doing the effects better, actually getting fake blood, getting proper lighting. Like I really wish I could go back to that one with the exact same script and just redo the directing and editing on that one.
During that process, did you ever, were you like, you said you wish to go back to it, but during that process, did you ever like say, stop, let's do this over again?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I can get that.
Mainly because I was working with, the big thing was I was working with Jackson Beard at that time. He played the main character Todd in that one, and he's a great actor, I think. And I wrote a feature recently, and I'm planning on having him as the lead in that. And I felt kind of intimidated working with him a bit, even though he was a family friend, because he was at that time he had just filmed a movie called Dear Dictator, and that movie stars Michael Caine. So. Oh. And he played a fairly substantial role in that movie. So I felt a little bit intimidated at that point. So I was like, we'll just do a take. It's fine. You'll do great. And he did. He did do great, but I still wish I had done more.
And, as you progress, of course, you're going to, direct other actors who have a resume that movies that you've seen before, big time stuff. And you said for this guy, you got a little bit intimidated. So how in the future will you deal with that? Like, will you all right, you know what? My job is direct. You're here to act. It's all good. I can take care of it.
Well, I think at this point I'm much more confident as a director than I was back then. Because back then I still didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't understand shot composition. I didn't understand how to evoke a feeling as well. I just understood shoot, performance, edit. That's really all I understood at that point. And nowadays I'm doing, all right, we're going to get 3 good takes of every single shot, and we're going to get a wide, a medium, and a close-up. And my friends who are actors hate me, but they can suck it up because it gets results. It gets results. Oh man, on the most recent one, the little action scene, you know that shot at the end?
Yes.
Where we did that so many times. So many times. I'm pretty sure I have like 20 different takes of that. And it was ridiculous because we couldn't get it right. And part of that is my fault because I did not prepare well enough because it was kind of a stunt and I meant to get stunt mats, but then timing was weird and it was just a complete rush. So I have never seen more fury in my friend's eyes than when we were doing that.
I would tell you, like, you know what? No, dang it, Jackson. No more.
Yeah, and they were like, you're just having to stand there and hold the camera. We're having to run at each other. It's like, I get it. I know. I'm sorry, but let's do it again. But do it right this time.
You are a director, okay? See, look, that's the full emerald right there. I love that. So, okay, now with your experience with your short films, through all of them, right? I see, you see growth. Because that's the whole thing. From when you first started to the ones that you're continuously making now. Mm-hmm. When or if do you feel like you ever wanted to quit? Like as you're growing, there's sometimes there'll be those hiccups on the road. Did you ever feel that like maybe I should just stop? Like no one's looking at this. I'm not really getting anything out of it. Maybe there's another path that is better for me than this.
No, never. I have been saying that I'm going to be a filmmaker. I'm going to be a writer-director for 4 years. And ever since I made that decision, I have never once thought about another career path. There is no plan B for me. This is it.
I love that, man.
I'm making movies, and I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, my films have such great recognition and everyone's watching them and love it. Like that's not the case. But I love making movies. I mean, I graduated from high school this year, and the happiest day I've had this year was when I was making that dumb little action scene.
That's good, though.
I love making movies, as hard as it is, as stressful as it is. I never wanted to hit my head against the keyboard more than when I was writing my first draft of my first feature. But I love doing it, and I love having it done, getting what I want to say out there in some way. And being on set, as stressful and tiring as it is, it's just what I love to do. I love being on set. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog. She's barking up a storm right now, and I'm sick of her.
She heard your passion. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But see, I like that what you just said. You know, like you say, you graduated from high school, and you always wanted this. But, you know, I bet your classmates knew about what you were doing.
I was known as the movie guy in my high school.
Okay, so all right, they knew about this.
Yeah.
So, but you know, when they say about us going through our dreams, going for our passion, you know, there's sacrifices that you have to make. You know, people don't understand the grind until they see it firsthand. You tell them all the things you had to do to get these things done or to get to the place you want to be. Mm-hmm. So for people who don't know fully about you being director and during your years of high school, did you have to make sacrifices? Were there things you missed or things you skipped on to be like, no, I got to do this. I got to get this thing done?
I mean, I graduated from high school a year early to do this. I graduated at 16. I'm 17 now. And I have never been more legitimately stressed out in my life than my last year of high school, because I was taking complete core classes and pretty much nothing but, save for like I took a film class as well, which probably added to the stress, but it's fine. Because it was film, and then I took 2 extra classes online outside of school, and the online system for where I live is terrible, but I got it done. It was incredibly stressful, and I had a lot of time dedicated to school in that last year, which, as an aside, I absolutely loathe the American school system, so that wasn't helpful.
Ugh, you and me both.
Yeah. So that was the big thing. I had a lot of my time on that and graduating a year early so I could get a head start. I don't really think I would have finished the first draft of my features if I was still in school, you know, doing my senior year now.
And, you know, people say, people like to say the senior year is the greatest year in your high school career. You know, there's so many things that you'll remember forever. But like you just told me, you graduated early. Mm-hmm. And like you said before, you have no regrets. This is what you wanted to do. This is what you pushed for. Mm-hmm. So with anyone else who's probably thinking the same thing that you're thinking about or wanted to do this, what you did, what can you say to the people that are saying, I need to push harder to graduate faster so I can do what I want to do?
Just keep going. It's going to be insanely tough. And especially depending on whatever the workload is, it's going to be tough, but it's going to be worth it. Especially when you're the youngest person on the podium. That just feels nice.
That shows that, you're going places. There you go. Now, as a director, as you are, because I ain't going to call you nothing else but a director, please.
Thank you. That is what I am.
You know, people, when they watch movies, a lot of critics, YouTube critics, they love to come after them. You know, mm-hmm. They love to bring them down when they see a film that's terrible. You watch a film, but you not only have eyes of a fan, you have the eyes of a director. Mm-hmm. So when you watch a film, how do you grade it? How do you break it down? Are you more critical with it, or do you just say, that was their passion, I can't really hate them for that?
Yeah, I have a thing. I don't hate any movies unless they were clearly not going against the filmmaker's ideas. Like, I hate the movie Suicide Squad, but I love David Ayer. I think he's a great director, but he got screwed over by the studio, and that was just a complete corporate push there. So it's whenever a movie is made without heart and soul, which is usually when it's the studio kind of deal, that I hate a movie. But even something like The Greatest Showman, I thought that movie was very, very bad, but I have a hard time really hating it because I could see all the passion everybody involved put into it.
So then, go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, that's all I had to say. Go ahead.
So, okay, you just brought up two films that I know a lot of people don't like. You know, personally, I cannot stand Suicide Squad at all.
Yeah, same.
But you brought up Suicide Squad and Greatest Showman. But you also talked about how, the studio can interfere and get in the way of the result of the product.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you then deal with the fans who blame both the director and the studio, mostly the director? How do you respond to them, to the people who just say, no, it's his fault. He's the reason why this film was bad?
Well, admittedly, sometimes it is, but at the same time, these are the same people who I assume don't really know the filmmaking landscape and probably haven't made movies. They don't understand how hard it is and how difficult it is. And while sometimes I can be known to be a bit hyperbolic in the ways I talk about certain directors, which I'm not the most proud of, but sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in something you feel passionate about. But at the same time, it's just people have put years of their lives into these projects, and even if it's absolutely horrendous, it's really hard to just get up in arms, I think. And it's really important to understand that there's a person behind that camera, there's a person behind that keyboard writing that script, and if you can see that there's passion behind it, they legitimately wanted to make this and had something to say and wanted to do something important with this movie and do something they love with a movie. I really think you can blame a director for a movie being bad, sure, but I think it's hard to like really get angry and mad at a director. Like everyone that's mad at like Rian Johnson for The Last Jedi still, even though The Last Jedi owns.
A lot of people.
Yeah, that's a very divisive movie, and I think that's why I love it. I love divisive movies.
Oh no.
But yeah, no, it's like people like really mad at Rian Johnson because he made a Star Wars movie they didn't like, but it's like, one, while I do think movies are incredibly important, stories are incredibly important, it's still just a movie. And people get really up in arms about that towards the people who made something that they don't like. And it's really important to remember there's a person behind that, they had something they want to do, and this is what they love.
So then you're not a fan of people like on Twitter or on Instagram who like tag these directors and like vehemently just go out and say, like, how dare you ruin my childhood? You took away something I love. That's the power of social media. When these fans hate something or dislike a product, they have now the way of finding these people and just literally berate them and tear them apart.
Yeah, I honestly believe social media has ruined film criticism and discussion.
What makes you say that?
Because it's devolved into that. It's just all hyperbolic and surface level talks and ideas, and it's just a bunch of yelling. And that's because social media gives people a platform to be anonymous and just scream at people who disagree and, have no repercussions about it. It's the same. It's like Rian Johnson still on every tweet he gets has something to do about ruining Luke or whatever or something like that. So it's all hyperbolic and yelling nowadays. And it's film discussion on social media has really brought down the whole medium in terms of talking about it.
Because, there is a difference between, like you said, like you just brought up, there is a difference between, criticism, having a fair criticism of a film and just saying what you like and what you dislike of the film. But then there's, like you said, these people who can just hide behind a keyboard and say whatever they want without consequences and make them feel like, yeah, I accomplished that. You see, I'm the big boy on top.
Yeah.
And it's wrong. It's completely not right for them to do that. I don't care who you are. These are still human beings, like you said.
Yeah.
So then if you had a way, then what do you think is the best way to get in the middle ground with these fans of, even if you don't like the movie, what's the best way to say, look, it's okay?
I don't know if there is one. I really don't know, because I've gone around the internet sphere a lot, and I'm really involved in movie discussion, specifically, big mainstream movies, because that's all people tend to talk about nowadays.
Right.
That's a hyperbolic statement, but still. I'm not really sure there is one. Like, specifically, I'm thinking to The Last Jedi. And it's been 2 years since that film came out. And we're still talking about it in this really toxic way, like on both sides of the equation. I don't want to sound like a centrist in that way, but
That's okay.
uh, on both sides of the equation, because people dismissing everyone's thoughts and opinions. And I do think, for the most part, people have everyone's opinion and take on something is valid. The only time I think someone's take on a film is invalid is when it goes directly against the filmmaker's morals. But in the case of Last Jedi, I haven't really seen that. And so when we're talking about something like that, or we're talking about DC and Marvel and that kind of discussion, like, it's okay to like both, but it is, but it
It's not true. They're both films. They're both comic book movies, and you can love both of them. It doesn't have to be a war.
Endgame made me sob, and I love Joker, so like y'all.
Exactly. It's not a crime to like both.
It isn't, but there's such a them versus me mentality recently in the film community, and it's troubling. And that's why, like, there's certain franchises, like, if I were to get the opportunity, I would never touch them. Like Star Wars, I would never make a Star Wars movie.
Really?
Yeah, never would make a Star Wars movie. I will continue to watch them. I am insanely excited for Rise of Skywalker, but I don't enjoy talking about Star Wars anymore because of The Last Jedi, and not because I love that movie, but it's because the discussion has devolved so much, because people really latch onto the idea that this is their franchise and they know what's best for it, when they don't. They're not the creators, and if they did know what's best for it, they would be the creators. But film is really a creator's medium. It's a director's medium. It's a writer's medium. It's an everyone who's on set's medium. But these are not the people that are on set, and if they don't like the movie, that's fine. Just move on. Talk about the things you love. Don't make your whole life the things you hate and going against the people you hate. It's fine to have discussions with people you disagree with, and that's warranted. Do that, absolutely, but have it be rational. Have it be smart. Have it not be just two people yelling at each other.
Okay, and just to bring up what you said, because you're absolutely right on every point.
Thank you.
Oh, please, come on now. But like, as you said, because are you telling me if the big mouse himself knocks on your door and he says, "Oh, Jackson, I want you to do the next big Star Wars movie,"
I wouldn't do it.
Wow.
I wouldn't do it. What I would do, though, is a Marvel movie. Here's a counter offer, mouse. I would do a Marvel movie. I would never touch a Star Wars movie. But we'll see about Marvel. It might evolve into the same thing.
That is true. I mean, look, time can only tell.
Yeah, because I'm already seeing that because I don't want to delve into politics too much here, but that's a big discussion surrounding the latest Star Wars movies, even though it's not real politics, I think.
But you see, go ahead.
It's just, I've been seeing that because, recently they announced Natalie Portman is going to play the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster's Thor. And I'm like, that sounds great, but people are mad about it because suddenly it's forced diversity and that kind of garbage. So, like, no, it's not. It's that kind of thing. And Marvel is going in that direction of being more inclusive and diverse. And some people don't like that. And
I mean, we've seen this, right?
Yeah.
We've seen this with Black Panther and Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Which, it's interesting. And it really shows because, the whole Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola stuff. Bob Iger said something about Black Panther being on the level of those movies or something like that. And people are now turning it against Marvel, being like, well, maybe Scorsese was right when he thinks just Black Panther being good. I'm like, y'all.
Thank you. Go ahead. Speak on it. Go ahead.
Black Panther's amazing, and that's all I have to say.
But see, you brought it up with Scorsese, Scorsese himself.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a divide, from the directors, the fans, and with the old school heads, and not taking anything away from them. I mean, look, these guys have made phenomenal movies.
Absolutely.
Movies that have changed the game. And no matter how much these fanboys want to go out their way and denounce their work, you can't. It's at all. But also, too, the old school, I feel like they are out their way to not say, hey, look, This is what these people like, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it's still no matter what, our stuff, their stuff, we're all film.
Yeah.
It took passion for, like you said, a lot of people put hard work into all this stuff. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's still work. It's still film.
Yeah. I don't see why anyone cares so much about. Like, I don't understand why Francis Ford Coppola cares enough to say they're despicable. I don't care why anyone on the Marvel side cares enough to be like trying to trash The Godfather now.
That's crazy.
It is, yeah. My favorite thing recently has been when everyone's talking about the Scorsese comments, be like, "Who even is Scorsese? Like, who is what?" I'm like, y'all, that's not making you look good. That's not making. I understand what you're trying to do. It is not making you look good. That you don't know who Scorsese is.
Oh, honey, no, don't do
exactly,
that.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't see why anyone cares enough. I understand Scorsese. I agree with Scorsese in that he says their theme park films is in their mass entertainment. Anyone can enjoy them. That I understand. That I agree with. But like, at the same time, him saying that's not cinema, it's like by definition it kind of is. I get if it's not your cup of tea, but like I think that's devaluing a bunch of people's work. But at the same time, it's his opinion, and it's Francis Ford Coppola's opinion, and it's people of Marvel's movies' opinion, and it doesn't really matter.
Honestly, no one will lose sleep. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you say that, I say that. Honestly, who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
The only person I'm mad at are the journalists who are asking these questions clearly just to get a rise.
You know that's the full truth.
Absolutely. It's for a headline. It's for a click, yeah.
Clickbaits. Get the word in so you can get the retweets. Come on. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because they know what they're doing. They know what's selling.
It's so annoying.
Oh, that's the sad thing about it. But I'll say this, because I'm loving. First of all, I'm loving this passion from you. I'm loving the fire. It's great.
Thank you.
So, with you, because I always wonder when people have these goals for as directors, if you could have it your way, where would you want to go? What company, what place can you see yourself being at and say, this is where I want to be right here, right now?
Oh God, I don't even know.
I know I know you thought about it. I know them dreams are popping around.
Really, I haven't thought about places that I want to go specifically, because like what I really want is to have one central hub that I just generally live at, and then with making films, I want to travel all over, basically. That's really what I want to do. But if I had to choose one location that I wanted to like make a movie at or something like that, or even just be, oh man, I've always wanted to visit Japan, so I'll say Japan.
Oh, that's nice.
I really like Japan. I would love to visit there.
It's a beautiful place. You know, it's one of my top
Absolutely.
10. So, with this, for you, Jackson, you know, we've talked about so much. You know, we talked about the divide between fans and directors, and with that, people like to, you know, find. I want to say, because I've stumbled around film Twitter, you know, and if anyone's been around film Twitter, you know, God.
Oh God, film Twitter. I deleted Twitter and I've been so happy.
Oh man, like I've never met so many people who love to put their pinky in the air and make it look like their farts don't stink. Like, oh gosh. So with that, like, you know, when you make your movies, you gotta put it out. You gotta put it on social media. You gotta sell it out to people. Then, of course, you will get the feedback from film Twitter. And with film Twitter, do you want your film to be known as like artsy, or like, oh, you got to watch Jackson film if you're a real film enthusiast? If you don't, then you don't know nothing about films.
I just want my movies to be known as good. I don't. That's my thing, because here's the thing. I have such a wide variety of movies that I want to make. I have those kind of like artsy fartsy ideas, but then I've also got a post-apocalyptic musical I want to make. So like,
That's creative.
yeah, I actually really like that idea, and I really hope I get to make it one day. So like, I don't know. I don't really know what I want to be known as in terms of a director. I just want to be known as someone to look out for. When I'm first starting, I want people to see my movies and be like, that's someone who has passion and someone who's talented and someone who knows what they're doing and someone who makes good movies. That's what I want to be known as. That's what I want my movies to be known as good.
Has any director inspired you?
So many. The big one that comes to mind is, and my movies are going to be completely different from this, but Edgar Wright is a big one for me.
Really?
Edgar Wright, definitely. I've never made a comedy, and I don't really have any plans for a comedy at the moment.
For the moment.
But for the moment, I could have an idea. But I think the passion he puts into his films, his knowledge of film, his style, how he just makes everything his own and everything so unique and interesting. I love his movies. I remember the first movie I watched of his was Scott Pilgrim, and I loved it. And then I watched Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and The World's End in the same day.
The same day? That's
same day. I loved Scott Pilgrim so much that I had to watch the rest, and I loved all those just as much. And Baby Driver came out, and I loved that too. So he's a big one for me.
Wow. I mean, first of all, to watch all those movies in one day, I mean, dang gun man. That's like a whole day for itself.
I've done more.
But that's cool. You know, like, we all have our idols or the people that inspire us to keep pushing, and like someday I would like to get to the place where this person is, because the way they work is the same way I want to work. But then also too, they say, sometimes be careful when you meet your idols, because your idols will become your rivals. But also too, they may not be as the person that you thought they'd be. So let's say that day came and you met Mr. Wright himself, and he wasn't what you thought he'd be. I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying, like, let's say like he's a jerk, he's stuck up, and he doesn't look at you sideways, he just look at you like, man, this guy ain't nothing. How would you take all that?
I mean, not well, but
I know.
I wouldn't take it well, but I don't really think it would affect me all that much, because while, don't get me wrong, Edgar Wright's movies have been incredibly important to me, the big thing is just the medium of film itself for me. So I certainly would not take it well, and I would not be happy, but I don't think it would dissuade me from anything. I really think it would just be, well, that's unfortunate.
but and again, I'm not saying he is. I ain't gonna say that he's gonna crush you like that. But it's always those things to always be aware, like, hey, those things may pop around, but it ain't gonna stop me from doing what I love, like you said.
Exactly, and especially in the movie industry, which is a performance industry, so.
And with that, because, when there's risk and reward, we talk about the risk for yourself, like, because I bet, like you said earlier, you got to take, your parents helped you out with the money. You took out stuff from Goodwill. But for yourself, did you also feel like you had to take loans out? Did you have to also get extra job for yourself to pay up and take money out of your check for this project that's coming up?
Not yet, but I'm about to.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I'm about to apply for a job soon. I was going to do it online, but it was not, the position specifically was not online, so I'm going to be doing that soon, applying for a job as a dishwasher, which will be real nice and fun.
Hey, man, look, a job. We all know that.
So I'll be doing that because my current plan is make a short film, get that into festivals, go to those festivals, make connections, get my feature made. That's my current idea. And I'm going to probably need some extra money to make this short film happen, which I'm excited for what this one is. But yeah, I'm going to need some money just in general, not just for the movie, for gas as well and stuff like that. But I'm going to be doing that soon.
Now, people say that, excited. What would you do if that fire burned out? Because everyone has those moments sometimes when they're making their stuff, but that same desire is gone, and now they're just doing it just to do it. How would you handle yourself through all that?
Usually, I get that right after I've made a film, right after I've made a short film. I get a bit of burnout because it's hard, it's tiring, and stressful. Specifically, the ones that take longer, like Deliver Unto Me, it took a week to shoot. Um, so yeah, I've definitely felt that before. What I usually do is I take a bit of a break, and then it passes, and then I'm like, I really want to make another movie. So
Awesome.
that's where I'm at right now. I really want to make another movie.
That's fantastic, man. That's actually really, really, really awesome for you.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing I want to bring up to you, and again, Jackson, I appreciate you taking your time out your day to speak to me.
This has been great.
And if anybody else wants to follow him, I'll make sure I say this right for you. You can follow his Instagram at Jackson Hendrix.
It's Jackson T. Hendrix.
T. Hendrix. Gosh darn it.
It's you and Callum. Both you and Callum have made that mistake.
Daggone it. YouTube Jackson Hendrix. And also on Stardust, Jackson Hendrix. Now, the last thing I want to bring up to you, and to put the final end to this, is just to someone who's listening to this right now, the final thing, and they're also a director, they're also a writer, and they're at the single starting space where you are. They're on the same pace. What can you say to them to keep them going?
Oh, give me a second to think.
Go ahead. Be real. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. The biggest thing is to keep your passion alive, I think. And while for a lot of us, it's rare that the passion dwindles down, like you said, people get burnt out. And for different reasons, maybe it's been, the stress of making a movie. Maybe it's been having not made anything in a while because you don't have any inspiration, or whatever's happening. It's to keep that passion alive. And the best way I say to do that, watch a movie you love. Look at interviews, look at behind the scenes and stuff for that movie you love, and see what went into that and all the passion, effort, and talent that went into that. And just know, one day, you keep trying, you keep going, there's a good chance you'll be able to do the same thing. And maybe one day you'll be that person in the BTS scenes for some movie someone else loves.
That's fantastic. And last, is there anybody here you want to thank so far on your goal and on the road you're on right now? Because the road ain't over yet. You haven't reached the finish line yet.
Absolutely, it's not over.
But right now, though, is there anyone here you want to thank for making this so far with you?
Well, absolutely. My parents, who have been so helpful to me my whole life. My sister Amelia, my brother-in-law Miller, Amelia's husband, have been remarkably helpful to me. And I see movies all the time with Miller and stuff. We talk about that all the time. It helps keep it going. Just talking with someone about movies who also knows movies really well helps keep that passion alive. And he's really helped me out with that. And also, just as a little bit of a Stardust shout out, Ross Lation. I've been talking with him a lot recently about my feature, and he's wanting to be in it. So, and he's been really helpful to me recently, especially. And pretty much anyone who's ever helped me on a film, my best friend Blaze, a good friend of mine JP, even my ex-girlfriend Nova, who was in that action scene that I did earlier this year.
I didn't even know she was your ex. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, she was my girlfriend at the time. We broke up a couple months back, I think. But I even like to thank her. Just anyone who's ever helped me on a short, everyone who was at that film camp I did a couple years back, anyone who's ever read something I wrote, and these people know who they are, even if I don't label them by name, because there's so many people. And I mean, anyone who's ever watched my movies, including you, Ron.
Man, look, I watched it. I watched those, man, all of them at the same day. I was hooked. That's not a lie. I'm not even trying to boost your ego. I was hooked.
You're still boosting my ego, man.
I'm trying to be generous, but it's truth, Brian. I wouldn't lie to you any way I can.
Yeah, so that's anyone who's ever helped me and anyone who's ever given my movies a chance, even if they didn't like them, which I know there are people who haven't, because they've said it to my face. Just anyone who's ever helped me or watched something I've made.
That's what I'm talking about right there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the show. He is Jackson Hendrix.
Hello.
My name is Ronald Smith. And y'all, we just got real.